Hello, and welcome to Colorado Springs Hypnosis, your resource for hypnosis and personal empowerment. My name is Charles, and I'm a hypnotist, and today I'm going to talk to you about Robert Dilts' logical levels. Now, Robert Dilts is an NLP practitioner and psychotherapist, I believe. He came up with this model to help people make lifestyle changes. And today, I'm going to be explaining it to you and talking a little bit about how you can implement it into your life.
Take a deep breath. Hold. Sleep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wide awake and feeling amazing.
So let's take a look at these logical levels now. As you look at this picture right here, you'll see a pyramid, right? And starting at the bottom of the pyramid, we have environment. Then we move up into behavior, up further into capabilities, beliefs, identity. And then you'll notice we have this other portion on the top that says higher purpose. So these are all different aspects of our lives that are affected or colored or changed a little bit when we start to make lifestyle changes. And for the purposes of this, I'm actually just going to use someone that is working on stopping alcohol to explain this, just to kind of explain how things are working out, right? So let's start at the bottom with environment, all right? And just so you know, when you're at the bottom of the pyramid, those are the quote-unquote easiest things to change. However, they tend to not have an immediate kind of impact, all right? Whereas parts at the top of the pyramid, they are not necessarily the easiest to change, at least psychologically. However, when you do make that change, it has a tendency to affect everything down below it a lot more quickly. So yeah, going back to environment, right? Let's say we have a person, they've come to that point where they realize they need to stop drinking, and let's just assume that maybe they learned about this model and they want to implement it into their life. Right, so the easiest thing you can do in most lifestyle changes is start to change your environment. Right now, that doesn't necessarily mean moving to another country or anything like that. It can be very small things. So for a person that wanted to stop drinking, the easiest thing they could do instantly is just get all the booze out of their house. Empty out all the bottles, throw away all the beers, get rid of all that stuff. Because if the place that you live doesn't have alcohol, just makes it a little harder to drink, right? Now, keep in mind, you can obviously make all sorts of different adjustments. Another thing that person might want to do if they were not going to drink anymore is maybe they would stop going to establishments where the point is to go drink, right? No bars, no clubs, speakeasies, all that stuff. If you don't want to drink, that's just not a good place for you because it's going to make you want to drink, right? So let's go ahead and move up to that next level into behavior. All right, so after you start to get your environment squared away, right? You get your environment in a way that it makes it easier for you to do the things that you want to do. It's going to make it a little bit easier for you to behave the way that you want to behave. So, but keeping back on that, right? In order to not be at bars, you have to exercise that behavior of not going to bars, right? So these things, they definitely do still have an effect on each other. Because if you're trying to quit drinking and you decide to go to a bar, well, you just put yourself in an environment that is opposite of what you need. So yeah, once you start to change your behaviors and start to do these things, whether it is consciously or unconsciously, you're going to be making those shifts, right? So somebody that stops drinking, well, they stop drinking so much. They stop going to the bars, they stop buying alcohol when they go to the store, they stop doing all those things. Right? Now, here's the thing about behaviors, right? The more you do a behavior, the better you get at it, right? And that moves us up to that next tier, capabilities. So maybe this person didn't stop cold turkey, right? Maybe they still go every once in a while, and the goal is to eventually be cold turkey. So what happens is over time, they find themselves more and more spending less and less time at the bar. And at some point, it gets easier and easier. And then next thing you know, they realize that they can go several weeks without going to a bar, several weeks without having a drink or anything like that as they get better and better. And that's a skill set, just like anything else. Being able to abstain from something is just as much a skill as being able to go do something. All right, and so after doing those behaviors, you start to get those capabilities, and when you realize, hey, I can do this, all of a sudden it starts to change the beliefs, right? Hey, I haven't been drinking as much. I don't want to go to the bar. I don't need to go to the bar. Hey, maybe I'm not such an alcoholic anymore. Or if someone's in a program of some sort where you are always an alcoholic, you can kind of label yourself however you want. But the idea is, like, once you start proving to yourself that you can do these things, you start to believe that you can do these things. And at some point, your beliefs will get so strong that all of a sudden it goes up into identity. And when it goes into identity, and you know that you're a person who doesn't drink or doesn't drink anymore, or however you want to outline that, or however that person outlines that, then there you are at identity, right? And then we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about higher purpose. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to have a higher purpose to make a change in every part of your life. But a lot of the times, especially once you get to that identity, you might fall into a higher purpose. I'll tell you right now, a lot of the hypnotists that I know became hypnotists because they sought out a hypnotist for something, and because that thing was so important, and they realized that they could empower people, that gave them their higher purpose, right? I stopped smoking with hypnosis when I was learning to be a hypnotist, and then I specialized in smoking cessation, So, yeah, that's pretty much the Robert Dilts levels in a nutshell. Now, real quick, we'll go ahead and do a top-down example real quick, just to kind of show how that might work. And the example that I like to use here is women, because women get pregnant, and for a lot of women, when they get pregnant, that means an identity change, and that means a lifestyle change, right? So for this example, we'll talk about some random woman who finds out she's pregnant, and perhaps she was a smoker before. And as soon as she sees that little blue line or little cross or whatever it is on that stick, bang, instantly, she's a non-smoker. And you all know what I'm talking about, right? Like, hey, how come Becky's not smoking? How come Becky's not drinking wine? Maybe Becky's pregnant, right? So, and again, this is not across the board. This is not for everybody, but this is a very common theme, right? A woman gets pregnant and that switch flips in her mind. Whatever her identity was before, now mother has become a big part of her identity, right? She believes that she needs to care and take care of her child. So it's very easy for her to do things and sacrifice for this child. And so, of course, the behaviors fall in line. Obviously, she wouldn't want to be smoking cigarettes because she doesn't want to poison her kid. And of course, now that she's pregnant and her identity and everything has changed, it's probably going to make a change to her environment. In fact, a huge change in her environment, right? She's going to start getting the house ready for a baby, and she's going to start getting rid of all the stuff she doesn't want. And all of a sudden, all the toys that the husband had that are dangerous for kids, they all got to go, right? So that's a real quick top-down example of how all these things can change. So I hope this has been informational for you. If you have any questions about how to implement this in your life, or just kind of how it works at all, feel free to put a comment down below. And if you did like the video, please like it, subscribe, or share it with someone who needs it. Have a great day.